Welcome back. I'm joined by Mr. Jimmy Buffett.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
I love that you're a Broadway personality now.
Well, thank you for that compliment.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it too. You know, I walk to work down Broadway every day when I'm in town because I just like to do it because I can't believe we're here. You come down to it, it's a pretty small community, but you know, I didn't come here to raise hell or anything. I came here to be a part of things. So it's happening. So I like that.
Yeah, it's happening because Escape to Margaritaville at the Marquis Theater. I think it's fantastic.
Well, thank you.
And I have to be totally honest and say I was not a parrot head.
It's okay, because, you know, that's what we're fishing for.
Exactly. I mean, I knew a few of your songs, I knew some of the hits, but I fell in love with all of it. I love the good times you're showing people.
It's a good evening of fun, and, you know, I'm not here to make some kind of theological discovery here.
Right.
We're just going to Margaritaville.
Right. That's your brand.
Yeah.
That's your brand, and people love it.
Yes, you don't go far from that. Lucky enough to get one, you don't try to go, now what else can we do for it?
Right.
The interesting thing to me was it's a different kind of way for my loyal audience to look at new stuff and see songs that they've known forever used in a completely different way, which is the reaction to that. What I loved about it, what people thought was, you know, what I came, if there was any kind of a mission to do it, was not to be considered, you know, a total jukebox musical. I wanted a great story behind it because as a writer, I like to have story behind things. And people really like the story, and that's a credit to our story writers.
You're on the road all the time. I think you're in New Orleans at the Jazz Fest
We're going
this
to Jazz
weekend.
Fest soon,
I mean, you're always on the road, and I've heard the experience of seeing you on the road is amazing and unforgettable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had friends. My friend Maria is probably flipping out that I'm sitting with you because she talks about
She's
the
one
experience.
of those?
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Absolutely. Was it important for you to capture what those people talk about seeing a Jimmy Buffett concert in this show?
Yes.
And what is that? How would you explain that?
I think it's simple escapism. I come from a Mardi Gras culture. I grew up on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
You know, I was born in a little town called Pascagoula, Mississippi, and grew up in Mobile, but my musical roots come out of New Orleans. I went to school close to there, and I started on Bourbon Street when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
And if you're in a Mardi Gras culture, what it is to me is I would put on a costume for anything because, you know, the only A I ever made in high school was in float decoration. You know, it was an art class. You know, the rest of it I wasn't too good at. But it was so much a part of growing up that Mardi Gras was that in life in general, 2 days off a year just to let steam blow off seems like a good thing to have for humanity, you know. Mm-hmm. And what we discovered as we all of a sudden became more popular in our world of touring, when we go to places and people would try to figure it out, and I'd go back to saying, you know, Cincinnati, for example, I have no relatives there, I've never lived there, and all of a sudden we sell more tickets there than the Rolling Stones. Now go figure it, I have no idea, other than the fact that it's so kind of Midwest conservative. They need a couple of days off, and we're it when we come. And we were there Mardi Gras. If that's your background and you come into the world of musical theater, it's already been there forever. That's what people, it's escapism from reality most of the time, you know?
Yeah.
And then my mother's love of musical theater when I was a kid, you put that on top of it, that she was an avid member of the local theater guild in Mobile, Alabama, and took us to shows. And then when any road show was in town, she would take us to the show, and I just loved the experience. So you put that into that whole kind of idea of where it all came from, and that's kind of it.
Can you remember any shows you saw as a kid?
Absolutely.
That had an impact on you?
I remember seeing her play Bloody Mary in South Pacific.
Oh, she was acting in this.
Oh, she was acting, yeah.
Bloody Mary.
Yeah, she was Bloody Mary.
That's a fun role.
She so wanted us to be Emile DeBeck's children, my sister and I. You know, I can still do the songs, but I was a baseball player, and but we would go watch her. But South Pacific, because of that, and seeing it elsewhere, and King and I was her favorite too. And so she never got to really come see shows on Broadway until much later in life. But growing up, we went to everything that came through Mobile or New Orleans. We would go see shows.
So the fantastic Paul Alexander Nolan, who we love here at Broadway.com, he plays Tully.
Yes.
And Tully is actually a character that you've written about in the past in your books.
Yeah.
A version of Tully, right? This is the name
Yeah, he was a character that I named in the first book of short stories, and then he comes back again in another book. I always loved the name, and the character in the books is a cowboy from Montana that goes to the ocean. You know? And this Tully is more of a bar singer in Margaritaville, but Paul was so good when he walked in. He had it, but he needed a tan, and he needed to go play bars. So that's what I thought. So, and I loved it. I said, you know, we've got a guitar player was essential, and Paul is a really good guitar player. And there are other people that came in, you could tell they practiced a long time for those 3 chords. You know? and then asked him to play a G minor 7th, and you had him. But he was good. I sent Paul to bar singer school. I sent him to, we went. He went to Islamorada, Florida, and for 2 weeks, and he worked in a bar called the Green Turtle Inn, which one of our producers owned. So I said, no, you got to be there where you can't. It's not a quiet place, and you can't play above everybody. You got to sit here.
Right.
There are going to be people not paying any attention to you. There are going to be ESPN screens on and blenders going. And so you got to learn that those are just, those are not distractions. You're just part of what goes on. And your job is to make sure with all that going on that you can still get a few people to listen to you. And he was scared to death in the beginning because he was so worried. He was worried about trying to make this.
Right.
I said, don't worry about it. They'll never hear the guitar. Just practice.
They're hearing the blenders.
yeah. You don't have to worry about this. That'll come later. But get used to being up here and all this action going on.
Yeah.
Because part of what we're going to do there that may be a little different is we're going to involve this audience more than most audience that I've been in or involved with. You know, to the start of, I said, the first thing I did is I went and talked to the theater managers, and I said, you know, I need to talk to your ushers. We're not going to the principal's office, we're going to Margaritaville. You know, and they got to lighten up a little, you know, because I've been in there, it's you just flush it out, put that camera away, or we'll put you in the dungeon. You know? And I went, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Jimmy, would you mind actually going to all the Broadway theaters and talking to the ushers? I would
sure,
appreciate that. Now you just got to add cup holders, and then you're gonna really transform Broadway.
What, you think so? Okay, well, I'm up for it.
Now, everyone, honestly, people have to see this show. I love Escape Margaritaville. I think I'm an honorary parrot head. I think I'm heading down that path.
You're more than that with that shirt, Paul. I'm telling you. This is good.
Shirt for you.
This is good, yeah. It's an honor to be here, and I get goose pimples now thinking that we're actually here doing this. You know, in the Brill building, talking about a Broadway show. I couldn't be happier. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Jimmy.
appreciate it
Great
so
to
much.
see you.
All right.